instead of the big F, today we'll be discussing the big O. Content is explicit. You have been warned.
Welcome to Bewitch Banter. We're two best friends.
One skeptical looking at you, Ames.
And our resident believer, Krista.
Talk about sex cults for the third week in a row.
Hell to the fucking yeah.
And that is something Amy would definitely consider magic, I think.
I mean, orgasmic, more like it.
But really though, we talk about the spooky, the spiritual, some wacky religions, cults, and the paranormal.
And do we? So what are we discussing today?
Today, I'm covering OneTaste. One taste is all it takes.
Follow with me. OneTaste? What do you mean?
It's OneTaste.
It sounds like a Chinese restaurant.
Oh, I never thought of that, but now that you say it.
It does.
It does. It is actually a self-help group turned sex cult gone wrong. And I got all of my stuff from the Netflix documentary Orgasm Inc., the story of OneTaste. And this was released in November of last year.
Damn, you're big on your documentaries right now.
I am. A lot of them are really intersecting with the culture and religion. Mm-hmm. And then I've been like, damn. It's just, we know this based on Bewitched Banter, but like religion is so ingrained in everything we do.
100%.
And it's like crazy to just see the threads through it. You know, politics, media. Last week was the sex cult media, like cults. You know, it's just like, it's crazy. So, anyway.
I mean, cults are like religion, which we keep discussing.
Yeah, exactly.
Should we cheers to orgasms?
Yes, please.
Cheers to the big O. So tell me, what do you got in store for me?
Oh, this is so great.
Am I going to be hot and bothered?
You will be up until a point.
Or angry and bothered?
Angry and bothered at the end.
Okay.
/ mid. So this is a little recap from Newsweek about the documentary. OneTaste was founded by Nicole Daedone and its alleged so-called, quote, orgasm cult. And it's really, really well done. And also the documentary got a lot of its data facts from a Bloomberg article, which ended up being the smoking gun that brought this bitch kind of down. Mm-hmm. And you'll see she's kind of risen again, but we're going to get to that later.
Who has? The leader?
The owner, Nicole Daedone.
The owner of what?
OneTaste, which is an orgasm sex cult.
Oh, okay.
And it's 15-year history that delves into now allegations of sex trafficking, prostitutions, and violations of the labor law.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this woman, it wasn't clear if it is over or if the FBI is still actively investigating her organization called OneTaste, but she is still currently being investigated.
Oh, how old is this lady?
She's got to be about 50-something. So
attractive?
Yeah, she was Asian? Prettier. No, she's a white lady.
I don't know why OneTaste makes me think
Here, let me show you real quick. This one. She got some plastic surgery, which she actually jokes about in one of the sources I read. So this is her when she founded the organization. Oops.
Oh, she doesn't look old. She looks like our age.
Really?
Or like,
but that was
maybe like late 30s.
You think? Let me ask.
I don't know. Maybe that one image is hard for me. Maybe I need multiple images.
Let's googs. How old? Hold on. Her Wikipedia was very weirdly minimalistic. It's not saying. She was 39 when she founded it in 2004 or 29. Okay, so this woman, Nicole Daedone, is facing allegations from former employees and clients about, again, sex trafficking, prostitutions, and violations of the labor law for her organization called OneTaste, which I will explain in a moment. But I just wanted to bring it back to, I have my meditation ritual, right? But it's certainly in like orgasmic meditation. Oh my God. Normally you'd be like, yeah, dude, you go sign up.
Yeah.
I would love to sign up.
I don't want to hear a bunch of people having an orgasm though. in a public space.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, so you do know...
That would be creepy.
That means you do know a little bit about it, because that's pretty much...
No, I'm just... From what you're saying, orgasmic meditation, I wouldn't want to... I'm guessing.
Yes, so the practice now called OM, very actually good marketing, like OM yoga, you know what I mean? That's your sound in yoga. That practice, OM, orgasmic meditation, was founded by Nicole in 2004, and it's basically the practice in which a woman's clit is stroked for exactly 15 minutes.
What?
Publicly, like you said.
Is she wearing underwear?
No.
Who is stroking it?
We'll get to it.
No, there's so many questions.
Participants of her sex cult.
And then people watch it?
Yep. Okay.
But the leader's getting stroked?
Apparently in the after parties, but in her big demonstrations, no. She uses her members.
Who gets to be picked?
Whoever wants to do it.
Oh, so it's like other people watching other people get off that gets help them get off.
Yep. So
okay, this is really weird.
Let me start. So in 2005...
1 second, though. So you don't get to choose who gets to watch, though. That's the creepy part.
If you're offering your orgasmic meditation session up to the class, then you're on display. Yes.
Oh, okay. Strange. Okay.
So I'll get into all those details, but those are called the strokees.
The strokees are the ones who stroke?
Nope, strokers, usually men, not always. And I'm using my left finger.
Oh, the strokees are the ones who are getting stroked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which are usually women. Well, no, sorry. Strokees are always women. Okay, let me get into it.
Sorry. I have so many questions.
I know.
Tell me now.
So in 2004-5, Nicole Daedone and Robert Candle founded the sexual wellness company OneTaste. Again, this thing was couched beautifully in the documentary and to the public when it launched back in 2004 as spiritual enlightenment and community building and trying to bring people together. And it was almost like a meetup. I'm going to go out on a limb and say for kind of loser guys to meet attractive women.
Okay.
And the women were lured in by this promise of female empowerment and 15-minute orgasm. Who the fuck doesn't want that?
Yeah.
Think you. I sure do. However, sadly, OneTaste/OM is not as pleasant as that may sound. So how the hell could mixing business and pleasure ever get dark or open the doors for abuse or coercion?
Ugh.
How could that ever happen? I don't know.
Is there any backstory of how this started?
Yes, I'm getting
okay,
to
good. Because I was like, there's not like one day you just randomly like, I have a business idea.
Nope, let's start.
We're going to make you like orgasm in front of everyone. That's my business.
Nope.
You want to do it?
Great point. So let's start with Nicole's story. And again, another sex cult gone defunct. So Nicole Daedone was born in Los Gatos, California. She holds a degree in gender communications from San Francisco State University.
Sorry, that just seems like the kind of person who would start a sex cult.
Exactly. There's more. There's more on her. And she thought quite highly of herself at
You'd have to.
At UCSF. Or sorry, just San Francisco University. She says, quote, I was an academic star in the women's studies department at San Francisco State. I felt so choked by a conventional life as a gallery owner that I tore off the little black dress and pearls and traded in for an LSD guru, end quote.
Oh my God, I had the privileged life of owning an art gallery. How horrible.
Exactly.
Oh, rip this expensive pearls off my neck.
Different kind of pearl collection.
I need to be liberated.
Oh my God. But so she then went on, as she claims, to find herself through yoga, meditation, and even studied a little bit of like Eastern meditation and yoga practices to then bring it back to this business.
This bitch would.
Yep.
That's all I gotta say. This girl,
this bitch would. Well, even though she was and may still be being investigated by the FBI, she's back in the public as of November 2022. And in this memoir, there's some
slow down. She got investigated by the FBI?
Yeah, I told you that already.
Open
your ears, bitch.
I wasn't listening.
Sex trafficking, labor laws, prostitution.
You say what? What'd you say?
So even despite that investigation, which I'll get into in a second here, she's back in the public and she's really hard at work, according to the U.S. Sun, at writing her memoir of childhood traumas and her rather adventurous life, which talks about, and she again thinks highly of herself in this bio. I am, quote, I am the woman you have always been terrified of. I don't remember the time before my father touched me there. I had my first sugar daddy at 16 and a short stint as a prostitute at 28. End quote.
Is she bragging?
In my head, she was. That's why I read it that way.
Yeah, but I feel like that's sad.
But she anyway, again, after all that childhood trauma, found her way to yoga and Buddhist meditation, as I said, and those helped plant the seeds for OneTaste, which is that organization.
She's got trauma. If she's a prostitute and got touched by her dad.
Big time. And that comes into the documentary towards the end. And one of the allegations kind of shows how that manifested into others. And it's really, really bad. Maybe it's because she was born in the shadows of Silicon Valley, or where obviously we know most young white boy frat boys make their millions and billions. Maybe that's like why she decided to take her stab into the startup world with an organization that focused solely on women's pleasure and the women's empowerment movement.
I mean, it sounds... Initially, we haven't gotten to the dark shit, but it sounds cool.
Yeah, I thought so too.
To me, it'd be like any woman who was telling me they were doing that. I was like, oh, more power to you. That's awesome.
So then enter OneTaste. And again, it's now known as the OM, and it's designed to bring connectivity through sensual energy and stimulation of the clit. All through a very strong community where stroking said clit is taught openly.
I mean, it's crazy, but also at a certain point, it's like we're probably all sexually repressed individuals. So maybe it's not the worst thing if people need to learn how to like have orgasms.
Yeah, they pitched it as, again, initially to kind of like losery guys or shy, reserved men who never had the confidence to approach women. So that's how they sold the men in. And then they sold the women on getting off and being treated like a quote-unquote queen, or like getting... It was but one of the first major things that really put female orgasms publicly as like a demand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it reminds
Female pleasure is what I'm trying to say.
What I'm thinking of this whole time is it reminds me of when Gwyneth Paltrow had her reality show and she tried out all these health things.
This might have been on her show.
That's what I'm questioning, because she went to something and it was like supposed to teach people how to orgasm and stuff.
I bet you she did. She didn't come up in any of my research, but...
I was just wondering if it's another person or what.
Yeah, let's see. Hold up. No, I'm curious, because Gwyneth was not mentioned in any of this.
But it was like, I don't think Gwyneth went. I think she actually sent like some of the people who worked for her doing the documentary.
It came up. Orgasm classes lauded by Gwyneth Paltrow. But damned by the hit Netflix show, which I've been discussing. A wellness guru says she's sexually liberated thousands of women, but the new documentary exposes the darker side of the sex therapy empire.
Yeah, so she was on. Okay.
Yep.
I remember watching that. I watched that episode.
So then you know a little bit about it.
I guess so. I didn't know it was a cult.
Yeah. It turned into one really quickly. As I said, how could anything with sex and coercion go wrong? I don't know.
Remind me, when did this start?
2004.
Okay.
And it was as a startup, so very modest roots at first. But as it grew, she began to offer courses in how to satisfy a woman with a hands-on touch designed to show only what she wants. One class was entitled 10 Women Want You to Know How to Handle a Woman's Pussy. Other courses...
Reminds me of cosmetology.
Yeah, it does.
And I loved how they always called the men's. They're like, you want to touch the men's back door.
Yeah.
I feel like that magazine's written for women, but really it's just like 16-year-olds who don't know how to have sex are reading it.
Totally.
Because I have not picked up a Cosmo at this age.
Oh,
Would you ever?
I miss Cosmo though. That's how I got into horoscopes a little bit.
I know, but imagine reading it now. You're like, this shit is so dumb.
Oh yeah. only what he wants. Fuck you. What about what I want?
Yeah.
The
Like
fuck?
when you're
You
16,
tell him and GQ what I want. Thank you.
when you're 16, you're like, oh my God, is that what you do?
You're so right. So in a way, this was for older men who needed
Just
to know
never
what to do.
had a Cosmo in their life.
Exactly. And so, handle a woman's pussy. Handle on courses on how to do the stroke properly. And the stroke method was like one of the biggest selling concepts of the whole shebang.
So many questions. I wonder if women ever sent their husbands. They're like, you need to go to this class.
From what I read, it was more about the communal, traditional commune shit.
But I guess also women wouldn't want to send their husbands because they probably get jealous. Because you wouldn't want your husband watching other people get sexually pleasured.
Exactly.
So probably the opposite. Okay.
Yeah, so it's growing over the years. In 2012, so again, started in 2004. 2012, she had pop-up shops across LA, New York, and even wrote a book. Yet, by the way, a book on orgasm, should I say, and female orgasm. Even though, yet, she's not a doctor. She doesn't know anything about the fucking human body. And she's certainly damn sure not an OBGYN. Yet, again, she wrote and published Slow Sex, the Art and Craft of the Female Orgasm.
It's intuition, baby.
And again, at the surface, if you're a woman trying to bring female pleasure to the forefront, get more power to you. But I don't appreciate you claiming to write a book that you know all about the female orgasm when you don't have any medical experience.
I don't know, though. I do think, not in her defense, I'm not saying she's right, but I do think you can write about an experience and you don't have to be a doctor to write about it. Because that'd be a very limited viewpoint if only doctors were writing about stuff.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because it'd be kind of boring, actually. I'd be like, I don't want to hear this from a doctor.
I think I have a bad view of her, so that's where I'm getting at. And I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. Why can't it be sexy to know how your body works from... I guess it's not that sexy from a medical perspective.
Yeah,
never mind. It's not that sexy.
If the doctor was like, and he will take the, like, naming off all my, like, actual terms, what everything's called.
And that's a whole nother conversation we'll have to have someday. But, like, I don't know any percentages, but so many women probably don't know half of what makes our own makeup up. And I think that needs to be talked about way more, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it's just like periods and menstruation episode, right? Like we need.
I feel like I didn't know what a clitoris was until a man told me.
Really?
Or no, I know what it was, but I didn't know where it was. I had
where it was.
I had to ask a man. And they probably told me the wrong spot.
Oh my God, they probably did.
I thought my clitoris was on my forehead.
I wish I'd be like this every day. Oops, I touched my forehead again. Oh my. Actually, this is the chakra that's associated with I think. Your third eye. Is the sound associated with it. So that's why this is a genius fucking marketing. But anyway, all right. So she wrote this book.
Krista approves of the PR message.
Honestly, it's pretty good from a comm standpoint. I hate to say it, but it is. Messaging standpoint. So, okay. She wrote this book and she's doing all these classes. Again, women are volunteering to sign up for these classes. Men are volunteering to be members. So they're not even volunteering. They're paying to be members of this group.
Do we know the price?
Yes. OneTaste used to sell courses and retreats that cost as much as $36,000.
How long is this retreat? And where am I going?
Just to teach people the practice of OM and sexual wellness.
So this is for like really rich elite people then.
Or people that, fuck up their credit just to get a taste, pun intended.
I can't imagine though, like $36,000, that's a huge chunk of change. No one's charging that on their credit card. That's be rich people. Or semi-rich people.
I mean, they didn't look it, but again, I guess we can't judge a book by its cover.
No. But I feel like we don't even have $36,000 credit limit. We couldn't go in there
God, I wish.
No, you don't. You don't want to just go charge $36,000 to your card.
Can you imagine? I'd be so stressed out. My heart just stopped, actually. I was like,
It's like, my credit card company calling me, and they're like, there's a $36,000 charge.
You're in a sex cult? Is this your charge?
Man, we won't tell anyone. Just tell us.
Just pay the debt owed. All right, so $36,000 for up to one course or like seminars, trainings, and
I'd need like a lifetime guaranteed of a lot of orgasms. $36,000
for one class. And so she's selling all these classes and, hustling, right? Being a con woman. A con woman of the clits. So in 2017, the company has already made $18 million in revenue.
$18 million?
Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty big turn. So 2004, 11 years, I think, right? If I'm doing the math right.
Just the services teaching, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And product. There's some like sex lube and like little pop-up shoppy sex trinkets that she promoted as well. But the courses was where the money was at, as well as the commune, which I'll get into. And so by 2018, more than 35,000 people had attended OneTaste in-person events, and more than 16,000 had taken part in classes or workshops.
I want to talk to these people. I just want to be a fly on the wall.
An additional 1,300 people had completed the coaching program, and tens of thousands had mastered, quote, the art of
masturbation.
That's good.
The master of masturbation.
Masturbator, baby.
What was it? What did they actually master? Sorry.
The art of orgasmic meditation.
Oh. So that's really just masturbation in a fancy way.
Pretty much.
Orgasmic meditation, that's literally masturbation. She did a great job marketing it.
The person, so the strokee is being stroked, so technically they're being pleasured by another person, but you're still, I don't know, I don't know if it would be masturbation or not, because they're not touching themselves, but regardless, it's open, kinky, not even kinky, it's just normal ass sex, but it's not even sex, it's one finger, there's no penis involved, it's a finger.
I have a question. So you might cover this, you might not, but because they are giving a service and the service is giving someone sexual pleasure, isn't that kind of like a sex shop? Is that legally allowed?
Bingo, which is why she was being investigated. Still no charges have been brought, but for sex trafficking, prostitution, and labor laws.
Oh, so the strokee's probably like a prostitute almost. And they're in the legal eyes.
Yep.
That's interesting.
We'll get to it. So do you want to understand a typical class?
Yes, please.
This is from
the... Can you imagine doing that shit sober? First of all, can you?
No. Was that her? Oh, okay.
I feel like if I had to go to one of these...
No, forget. I better be high as fuck.
Or drunk as fuck. I think high I would get more paranoid. I'd have to be drunk as fuck. Like, just, when you're drunk and you just don't give a shit.
Yeah, you're right. I would be paranoid high. You're right.
Because you're high, you'd be like, oh my God, don't pick me. Don't pick me. Then you're drunk.
Don't pick me.
You'd have to be at the drunk level. You're just like, I don't care about anything right now.
The teacher, you try to avert her eyes and you get picked, inevitably.
It's like the kind of drunk where you're so drunk, weird things seem normal. That's how you'd have to be.
You're absolutely right.
Yes.
All right, so a typical class. In this orgasmic meditation session, as I said, the woman or strokee lies down on a medical-like massage table at the front of class. So instead of your podium, actually, let me say this. Let's imagine if it was my podium. Instead of my podium in my class, in my lectures, it would be a fucking massage table with a naked woman in a robe just waiting to be stroked by the, quote, stroker. Typically, he's a man, but it doesn't always have to be a woman.
Or a man,
a man. The stroker places their right hand under the buttocks and rests the right thumb over the introitus, which is the vaginal hole.
But okay, let's talk about this a second, because I imagine the stroker doesn't know all this stuff, so it's like, is she giving him instructions?
Yep. So she's verbally coaching the stroker in front of an entire class.
So weird.
Isn't that awful? The stroker will then take the OneTaste recommended all-natural lube and place it on their forefinger and middle finger.
Why is it OneTaste? Just sorry. Okay, keep
OneTaste is on lips. That's why I've been singing all day.
I just keep thinking about Asian food. It makes me hungry.
Oh my God, I love it. And then used those only 2 fingers to stroke the clit for 15 minutes.
It's a long time.
And they focus, apparently, according to Nicole, again, no medical knowledge.
Does it have to be 15 minutes?
That's like the required minimum. And then you want to get...
Because there's sometimes you're like, okay, 5 minutes, I'm done.
Listen, I can't even.
What?
So they focus on the clit.
It's not all timed in life. It's not like you're magically every time like, oh, it takes me 15 minutes.
According to Nicole, again, the founder, that's what it is. And she has them focus those fingers on the left quadrant of the clit. And then the goal is to get them to this state of not moaning or groaning or like expressing their pleasure, but this state of silence. And then they even showed it where the toe, the waits for like a silence and your toe just like moves. That's like what she practiced, and that was the right way to do it.
So it's a right way to orgasm, according to her?
According to her. All right, so every woman's getting off in class, paying $3,600 a pop, perhaps, that the highest bidder.
I thought only one person got to be at the strokey, or everyone gets a turn.
It's usually, so it's like classes. So like you're there to watch, and in one session, like there's one strokey and then observed by.
But what is what everyone else doing? Are they masturbating while watching, or just
they're
watching?
taking notes. They're just watching.
So what use does that do to me when I go home with my notes? What am I supposed to do with my notes?
You're supposed to practice this stroke method.
But you don't have the stroker at home. What are you supposed to do with your notes?
That's a really great question, my friend.
Because I'm like, so they just watch her.
They watch her get off,
and they take. What kind of notes are you taking?
And well, okay. Eventually, I'm gonna get into this, but eventually, so they started in Silicon Valley, in LA, in California, and then they eventually moved to New York, with a warehouse essentially that becomes the sex school where a lot of these alleged crimes took place, or sex crimes took place, and they lived there as in a commune.
I understand that, but like, so
that you would practice with those people. I would imagine.
What kind of notes are you taking? Like, can you imagine?
Do I know? I don't know.
Imagine it'd be like, date October 10th, 2021.
Stroke the clit.
Bullet point. Man strokes around the clitoris region. Bullet point. Seems to go fast for a minute. I mean, like, what kind of notes are these?
Honestly, that might be ones that people would have actually taken based on what I read.
I want to see the notes from these classes. I think those would be fun to read.
You request a subpoena for the notes of Orgasmic.
Woman opens mouth, about to orgasm, new bullet point.
And is silent in pure serendipity.
Heart.
Squirt, squirt.
What kind of notes are these?
Oh my god. Well,
you're paying $36,000. Why don't you just turn on some porn?
Listen, every woman's getting off. What could go wrong?
But only one woman's getting off from the class, right?
Well, multiple women are
taking
strokies. As far as
in one class, how long does the class last?
That's a great question. I don't know. At least 15 minutes.
Okay, because I was like, every woman's just watching, so they take turns being the strokey. And then there's probably men taking turns being the stroker?
Yeah, I believe that's the whole goal, because she wants to indoctrinate a woman to feel free about their sexual power and empowered in such, as we should.
Can you imagine, though, like, let's say you live in New York City and you just went to one of these classes, and then you're, like, the next week out with your kids, and you're trying to get some parsley from your chicken noodle soup. And you see your stroker, and you gotta act like you don't know him that well.
I can't. This probably was a very real scenario for some of these women and men.
I'd be like, "Hi, how are you doing?" They're like, "Mom, how do you know him?"
Oh, he just stroked my clit.
He's just a really friendly man.
You have really great questions today. Okay, so many people are getting off. Everyone's happy. They're on their high. They're sexually empowered, according to Nicole, and they're living their best life, and it's fucking again, like the aliens, fucking everybody all the time, while learning to do the best, quote unquote, or female orgasms.
I'm surprised, actually, these men would pay this much.
They again,
were they pervs or did they actually just really want to be good at sex? Because that's two different things.
from what I observed, it looked like they really were lonely men who just wanted to connect. And one of them was actually really handsome. And I was like, why would he need that? But
did any of them start dating? Did they talk about that at all? Like after class, they're like, damn, Stroker, come, let's go get a dinner afterwards.
They didn't talk about that. And I think it's pretty interesting that they did leave it out because...
that had to happen though, right?
I think it probably did.
Because I feel like there's part of you who's like, damn, he's that good just in class? What is he like in bed?
Exactly.
Or maybe just
like I want dick as well, you fellas. FYI, not just
like,
a little
damn.
stroke. Yeah, of course, the orgasm is great, but like I do love some good dick, you know.
And I'd be thinking, you paid $36,000. What's an extra $100? Take me out to dinner. Come on. That's what I'd be thinking. I want a little pasta after this rendezvous.
Oh my God, I can't. All right, so everybody's living their best orgasm life in LA and New York with OneTaste, and however, up to 2018 now, everything comes crashing to a halt. And it's because of a report by Ellen Hewitt, who releases all the goods. And I mean that literally. Releases all the goods for a report she did in Bloomberg.
Like pictures?
No, because Nicole, because of her practices behind the scenes, she... and former employees basically expressed their really dark experiences living in the commune as well as just being employees, and quote members. Like, so members are, again, pay to be in the social meetup group, essentially.
So the commune, like, were they like, do you know how many people were living there? Do you know any of the details of the commune?
Yeah, it was in Brooklyn, and it was like an old warehouse that showed like beds, just like, because it's now defunct and abandoned.
Were they working, or is that a whole purpose in life?
That was not a pop-up shop, but that was where they like would hold many classes.
But did people live at the commune, or
Yes.
they just worked at the commune?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, and again, to answer your prior question, there must have been a lot of like domestic weirdness going on if you like somebody.
Well, there had to be.
Yeah, they didn't cover that much, but
I don't know. Well, it's just so interesting because I feel like there would have to be some physical or mental attraction when someone made you feel that way. That could have to happen occasionally. People are human.
Absolutely. So in 2018, the roof blows off.
Oh my goodness!
The roof blows off this thing.
No way.
Former members and employees, as I said, testified to law enforcement that managers were frequently ordered to make staffers engage in sexual relations with either clients or even other staffers.
Like after the session. Because they're probably all turned on.
Yep, and they were coerced to have sex with each other for the, quote, personal enlightenment and to close sales, end quote. So there's your sex trafficking ring.
Wow.
Yep.
That's so fucked up.
Not
but
fucked up.
It seems like a no-brainer that would happen, right?
Yep.
Because there's like this whole liberation. Oh, we're sexually free.
Yep.
Just go bang them. No big deal.
Yep, and that's exactly how Nicole would say it.
I just had a fucked up joke. Get one bang, get another one free.
Oh, BOGO. Bang one, get one.
Bang one, get one.
Oh, shit, that is bad. But good. So good. Sorry for all the victims. That's not cute. Not cute. Not cute.
What?
All right, so in 2015, a former employee received a 6-figure settlement for sexual assault and harassment.
6-figure?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I said it like that. 6-figure! Give me some money.
One woman who appeared in the film actually wrote letters from her sister, who was a member of the cult. And the sister in the letter was so suicidal. And I don't recall if she actually took her life or not. But in the letter, she described how a man allegedly shook her and screamed. How he would love to rape her. And how he beat her. And, ugh. and would use her, like how he'd want to use her in nasty sexual ways, while onlookers from OneTaste were just there. So she was being berated sexually.
Wow.
Basically taunted. Rape was being taunted at her.
Oh, I take back my horrible joke, but you can leave it in because it's funny.
Her terrible.
Well.
And again, while this woman received a payout, many other members, I should say, suffered sexual assault and harassment. Again, the report in Bloomberg also cited labor violations because to that point, if you're being coerced to have sex for money, that's prostitution, that's sex trafficking.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And then in 2018, a former employee filed an abuse and fraud case against OneTaste, but the lawsuit was dismissed by a judge in 2019. No further information on why. I don't know.
So how many victims are there approximately? Do we know?
Honestly, we don't. And it's probably at least hundreds, if not more than hundreds. It's got to be in the hundreds because think of all those people that I said went to these classes at the top.
Yeah.
Thousands of people.
But just because you went to class doesn't automatically mean you're in a cult. You know what I mean?
No, but those in the commune, there was, I think, at least maybe 30 to 50 people living there at like rotational time period. And again, there they were forced to have sex with each other. They were told, you're not being... The men who bought into this bullshit for their own getting puss that they couldn't otherwise apparently get... were told that they wanted to be, you want to be strong, you want to use your force, and basically this is a stretch a little bit of what I read, but we're basically told it's okay to use force because women want it and they deserve to be treated like by a beast.
So do we know, because it seems kind of like crazy that she did all this, do you know if there's like any...
She had one gal who was like basically her lieutenant that was cited as well as like the basically her right hand woman / VP of the whole organizational structure that enforced the rigidness of it.
Well, I think it's interesting too that it's a female cult, but she's almost like using being a female and trying to con as like sexual empowerment.
Yep.
Getting followers that way, because it's not very common women are leaders as a cult, and it's almost like she used her female instinct to do it. I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, she's clearly she had some trauma, and that came up as well in her life. Again, at the top I said she was certainly abused by her father, it sounded like, and probably many other men as a sex worker, and she escaped that life to build this empire, right, in thinking that it was empowering women, but then became the villain herself, to your point. So,
well, yeah, and I feel like everything usually starts with a good, or most of the time starts with the good intentions.
Yeah, and I think it probably did, but then she started seeing all the money pouring in from Silicon Valley because there was nothing like this, right? Women were like, hell yeah, I want my... It was almost like a rejuvenation of women's lib movement. In the early 2000s up until nowish still. We're still fighting it with Roe, obviously, way overturned. But she was fighting that, and she was really on the timely movement of it until she started using... coercion as like a method to close sales through sex. Like, obviously you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them reported just like, again, feeling like rape culture was supposed to be acceptable and being treated by men a certain way because they like didn't fully, the man deserves to get his beast out. He needs to let his beast out kind of thing. And I think it goes back to her trauma.
Yeah,
of like
up for sure.
Right. So when that Bloomberg story broke in 2018, Nicole reportedly went into hiding in Italy and Bali for some quote soul searching.
Oh, like a rich woman would.
So she was under hiding for about 4 years. But guess what?
What?
In November 2022, again, the Netflix show comes out and did some very, I have to say, great reputation management because she interviewed herself after being indicted or investigated.
Like damage control.
Damage control. She interviewed with the U.S. Sun because that paper is so credible. However, she did publicly come out to try to tell her side of the story. And this is what she had to say about that documentary. She said, quote, "They put snakes in every freaking scene, and they interviewed everybody on the beds with shirts off. That's so tacky," end quote. Meanwhile, bitch, you're putting people with their open legs in front of a whole class to bear their most private sexual, like, moments? Like, okay, that's not tacky? Please.
Yeah, you don't have much room to talk.
So, anyway, that bitch, as I said, did not stay in the shadows too long. Not only did she come to do the positive press, she also she actually did in November 2022, so just a few months ago, she's back full on. She's back from Italy and Bali doing her God knows what, more oming around the world, I guess. And she held a public demo for the first time in New York last November, and essentially all the heads were turning. You could hear the woman's moaning throughout the whole auditorium because it was like a big space.
Yeah.
And it was a big event, and there was a wide screen, big monitor, while every stroke of the woman's, quote, genitalia was described in detail.
Wow. I would not want to be a part of that.
Imagine that. Like, can you imagine being that poor woman? Like, I guess they signed up for it. I hope they did.
They had to, but still.
But, like, anyway, so she's still back at it, hustling. Once a hustler, always a hustler.
I gotta hustle for that orgasm.
OM's online courses and apps are no longer offered in the United States physically, but...
Is it because they removed it?
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. did?
Mm-hmm. Because of her investigation.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So while OneTaste's website says it was relaunched under new owners, this bitch, you know what she has the audacity to still do?
Name it To Taste.
That's fucking good. No, she still lists herself as the CEO on LinkedIn. Like, she still owns it, even though it was clear through the investigation that it was overturned to new people.
But what did the new people do with it? Like,
so now it's only in the UK.
Oh, okay.
And it's only online courses to offer, quote, wider audiences the experience of their own sexuality
during the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
Or wasn't it not until 2022 all this happened?
She just kind of came out of the showers in 2022. But I don't think they were really...
Online classes, that could, like, multiply by a lot.
Exactly. And that's what she was quoted as saying.
Damn.
That was their
She
goal.
struck gold on that one.
Yeah, right? So while the FBI's investigation into the company over sex trafficking, prostitution, and violations of the labor law is ongoing, no charges have actually been brought to date. She's again only been investigated.
Not surprised.
But since the scandal, as I said, she was off in Italy and Bali. But
Living the hard life.
Also, you want to feel bad for her here, working in women's prisons and feeding the homeless through her project called Free Food, which I guess is probably some type of meal service. But anyhow,
wait, she's like doing charity work.
Yep.
But that's good, isn't it?
It is good.
Oh.
I hope it's, I just hope that others aren't being coerced through online stuff. I don't know how it works, but there's probably less room for coercion online, so I guess that's positive.
Okay, is this weird to say this out loud? I don't know if she's the worst cult leader we have covered, because I feel like a little bit of what she was doing maybe all got carried away, and I could see how it turned bad, but I could also see why she had good intentions.
Which is so funny.
And I don't really think she's evil to her core. I think maybe she got carried away with money and the power grab, and she let things fly when they shouldn't.
Exactly.
But I don't think she's all around terrible, where some cult leaders, I'm like, they're awful.
They're just horrible. They're not even human. Yeah. Which is funny. This is exactly how I have ended it. So you're on exactly sync with me. So in her manifesto, while she was in hiding, she talks about a little bit more of her trauma. She says, quote, "I have been beaten, choked, addicted to drugs, money, and power. I have been the ultimate victim, and I will talk about it all," end quote.
when is your book? So I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be supporting her.
No, that's my question, though. Abuser of women and men, or is she a female empowerer? That's a really thoughtful question to ask.
My thought, I don't know enough about the story to really give a huge opinion, but from what I've heard, I could see where she started this with a really good idea and she thought she was doing the right thing, and then maybe things got carried away, but she was making so much money, she was kind of like, fuck it, throw it to the wind.
Yep.
I'm like, my business is so successful, I'm not going to shut this down.
Exactly.
And bad things happen under her like influence or her business.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into it too much, but I don't know if I could see how the idea seems great, but then you are also welcoming all people into this idea, and not all people are good. Right.
Exactly. And one of her main points was that
I'm not trying to stand up for the sex cult.
No, that's why I asked it, because you want to believe in another female to empower us, right? In our own sexual autonomy, right? That's great in theory.
I guess he seems great in theory, but carried out probably did open the doors, like you said, for sexual abuse.
Exactly. And that's kind of what happened, unfortunately. And again, whether she's truly guilty or not, I don't know. I was never there.
Maybe she knew that was happening. She shouldn't have been so complacent, like stood up for these people. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just interesting question.
Very fascinating question and story. So it certainly sounded like her victims obviously have other stories and insight that we would never have.
And how does one pitch this business idea to people to get funding? Because that would be the weirdest way.
Yeah, she latched, like I said, when she was in Silicon Valley, she latched on to the female empowerment movement and almost did like a lot of TED Talks and really talked about us owning our autonomy. And then that latched on, and then she had those pop-ups, like I said, where she was selling bullshit services and classes, and then it grew into actual classes, filling auditoriums and classrooms.
But you can see why some people were for it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. One of the final things I'll say is too that she was very open to it not just being a gender thing, just kind of like your story. Like she was open to, according to Nicole, like gender fluid sexual experiences before DEI and all that became part of popular culture.
Interesting.
So according to her, right? But anyway, again, it's your call to think about. Again, we don't know. We are not associated, and I'm sorry for anybody who was a victim, but I don't know, just made me think, abuser or empowerer. So,
well, you could also, I mean, life isn't black and white. She could be both.
Yeah, look at you.
Exactly.
All deep and so shit. Deep. Well, that's all I've got for you. Any other questions about One Taste is all it takes?
Why did she choose that terrible name?
I have no idea.
I don't like that name. Do you?
No, it sounds
I think she should have called it 1O.
Ooh, I like that.
Or several O's.
Ooh.
Something, but I don't know. One Taste just seems cheap, like a cheap Chinese restaurant.
It kind of does. Or like a cheap, like gross ass strip club.
Yeah, she should. Her name could have been better.
A little bit better there.
That's the feedback I got for now.
You hear that, Nicole? Give Amy a call. She's ready to rebrand you.
Yeah. I like 1O. I think that sounds good.
1O is all it takes.
Okay.
Now that damn song's in my head. All right, well.
Wrap it up on that note.
Peace, Bewitches.
Be smart, Bewitches.
Thanks for listening. Check us out on Instagram or bewitchbanter.com. Suggestions for the show? Email us at bewitchbanter@gmail.com. Credits, Music Phantom Fun by Jonathan Boyle from premiumbeat.com. Podcast, edited and produced by Krista Hins and Amy Holt. As always, if you enjoyed, please rate, review, and subscribe.